Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In the last part, we did a lot of stuff around the Great Bay and made our way back here to Romani Ranch because it's closing in on 2 a.m. and that's when we promised we would meet with Romani to take care of them, whatever they are. In fact, she's late. She doesn't actually get here until 2:15, so you can be a little bit late yourself, technically. But I always come here early just so I would make sure you don't miss any potential flagging in case, like, say the moment it's 2 and you're not here, things go wrong. It's almost time. You take care of things outside, Grasshopper. If you have a map, watch your map carefully. Okay, whatever happens, do not let them get into the barn. They'll come from behind the barn too, so watch out. If you run out of arrows, we have crates of them near the house, so stock up when you need to. Additionally, you can also use the grass around the area to restock as well. Let's see whatever we're fighting. So fun fact, if memory serves, them are meant to be based off of the Flatswood monster, the cryptid that people talked about all over the place over the years. With that said, they don't actively attack you. Their only goal is to reach the barn house on the very north of the map. They spawn in about 5 or 6 different locations and just move slowly towards it. Whenever you kill one, another one respawns at the original location within like 3 to 5 seconds-ish. And they do move pretty quickly, but even if you just stand in this vantage point where I am right here between the house and the barn house, you can hit them all and not really worry about them getting anywhere as long as you're good about aiming with this game, like I am. If you're not as used to aiming, walk all over the place and you should be fine. You can use Opponent for this. In fact, they kind of recommend it, but I prefer just to stay still just because it gives me a solid vantage point. I can know where to aim from. I can also recommend in that regard, if memory serves, standing on the crate that she recommends destroying to get arrows because, well, like this gives you a higher vantage point so you can even aim above the fences. The reason I unslowed time though for this sequence is that we would just be here for longer, and even though they move slower, they also respawn in the same time period, so you'd be using more arrows over a longer period of time if you had the song slowed down for this minigame. You don't have to go until 6 with this minigame, though. If memory serves, you actively go until about 5:15 to 5:30? It might seem overwhelming, especially on a first run, because there are a lot of targets and they're all slowly enclosing on you on the minimap. But there are far harder minigames in this game. There's far harder minigames in Zelda, period. Let's see, is it 5:15? I might be actually looking at the waveform of the audio we're about to hear. We did it! We won! Thank you. Thanks to you, the cows are giving thanks too. Here's Romani's thanks. When you drink it, put your hand on your hip and take a big gulp like we do here at the ranch. And we got a milk bottle. 1 quick gulp will have you feeling great. Use C to take a drink. You recover 5 hearts per gulp. This bottle contains 2 gulps. When it's empty, recycle the bottle. It's almost time for my sister to get up, so I have to get back to bed. See you later, little hero. You helped the ranch girl and saved the cows. This was added to your notebook. Now, there are some other things we can do in Romani Ranch, technically, but there's a minigame we need another mask to really do any kind of well in on top of the follow-up to this particular side quest where we helped Romani that we're going to have to wait to do anyway, because you're not going to be able to do that until almost the night of the second day, if not just at the start of it. So we're good here for now. The main reason we did that was because I wanted to get the 3rd bottle from doing this. With that, we can already go get our 4th bottle, but the main thing we can do now is we want to head back to Snowhead. In particular, we want to head back to the mountain village because our sword is going to be done at the dawn of the 2nd day. So let's go check in on that, see how that's doing. And since we have the gold dust, we'll be able to further invest. Call it a hunch. Yeah, I theoretically could have done an entire 3-day cycle entirely dedicated to side quests before going after any of the Zora Eggs besides maybe getting the hook shot. but I decided not to do that just for the sake of getting more side quests done more quickly. I've done playthroughs where that entire 3-day cycle is more or less side quests, and it does technically help with dungeon flow, but I prefer to handle it like this in the long run. Huh? Look, I'm working on strengthening your sword. I'm busy, so don't bother me. Bother you. Right. So let's just wait for the dawn of the second day to come about. And as close as we can to the start of the second day, let's also just play the Song of Inverted Time again, just to have that ready for the entirety of the next 3-day cycle. Don't want to waste a single second. Oh, also, I should note, since the them fight went from 2 to 5, 15, that means it takes 3 in-game hours, which is 3 IRL minutes. If you had the Song of Inverse Time, that's close to 10 minutes, so you can see why you probably want to have time going at its normal rate for that. I kept you waiting, but it's done. See? Your Kokiri sword has been strengthened and forged into a razor sword. The new, sharper blade is a cut above the rest. Use it up to 100 times without dulling its superior edge. Now keep in mind that after you've used this 100 times, the blade will lose its edge and will return to its original sharpness. Now here's a secret. If you bring me gold dust before the sword loses its edge, I'll be able to make it the strongest sword around. You got that? Gold dust.
Ugo, 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 Ugo.
All right, well, I guess what? I got that.
Ugo, 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 Ugo.
Oh, a customer. Gabora, fetch your customer some coffee, quick-like. Now then, let me take a look at your sword. Hey, now that's a mean joke. Your sword already has been reforged into a razor sword. Unless, do you want me to make your sword stronger? To do that, I'll need gold dust. Do you have any? Why, yes I do. Why, if it isn't gold dust, and it's even top quality. Why, even if I use it to reforge your sword, there'll still be some left over. All right, just for you, I'll do this for free, but don't tell anyone. Thanks for dropping in. Now that I'm straight off to work. Come back tomorrow morning.
Ugo, Ugo, Ugo.
The sad thing is, I really like the design of the razor sword, but we can never actually use it. If you use the razor sword though itself, it is double the strength of the Kokiri sword. Meaning it's still technically weaker than, say, the Goron punches, but it's still ultimately pretty good in the long run. I have had playthroughs where I use it for a boss fight and then come back to have it reforged, and it's pretty worth doing with that, but in the long run, you want to get it reforged, because that 100 uses goes by pretty quickly, because I think, like, hitting a single piece of grass counts as a use, so, like, using a spin attack counts maybe as a lot in a row, if memory serves. With that, though, it's time for us to head back to Great Bay and head between the rocks in the distance for Pinnacle Rock. If you remember the Gyarados Desert, this is that place repurposed, mechanically. Free our little seahorse friend. You have strange powers, Link. I have a request for you. Please, follow me. We need to follow the seahorse. I think you can technically get through this place without freeing him if you just know the path by heart. And I think I've maybe done that once? Because there's all sorts of signs pointing all over the place that are meant to just kind of lead you on the wrong path. And if you go the wrong way, you'll just be sent back to the start of the area, because it is the Gyarados Desert. Once we get to the rocks in the distance, though, we're free. Here in the depths of Pinnacle Rock live many dangerous sea snakes. My friend is trapped here. Link, can you please find a way to rid the area of all the sea snakes and help my friend? Indeed we can. Now, you don't need to do that. You can just find the Zora Eggs in here and then leave. But in order to get 100%, we do want to kill all the sea snakes. Speaking of which, the way this area is set up, if you look on the map, is we have, I think, technically 8 holes throughout the walls of the area that are each containing a sea snake. The sea snakes are more or less Unagi from Mario 64. You get too close, they jut out, and you can attack their backs by using the Zora electricity to kill them, 2 shots each. 3 of these holes contain the remaining Zora Eggs. The other 4 or 5 just contain sea snakes. Sometimes they have a chest in them for some rupees and all that jazz. I forget if I even opened those. But our ultimate goal is to kill them all. This does take a little bit of time, and there's not even really an easy way to do it route-wise, because there's 2 holes with sea snakes in it per altitude, and there's 4 altitudes. So what I tend to do is take care of one side of it, then take care of the other, and then go down and deal with the next level down. I've had playthroughs where I will say follow the spiral down and then back up, and I'm not even sure if it's any more efficient or less efficient. This is kind of tedious, but I prefer this to what they maybe could have made this. If they say made this its own little individual underwater maze, which would have kind of sucked. Which does kind of get into a thing I like about Majora's Mask structure that I can see some people maybe not liking as much. I like how the individual areas in this game are by and large laid out in that before you get to the dungeon, you have to get a song to unlock the dungeon. And usually doing the getting that song itself is in some regards a mini dungeon. For the Southern Swamp, you have to go through the Deku Palace. For this, you have to go through the Pirate's Fortress and the Pinnacle Rock section. Snowhead's the only real standout in that regard, because even the 4th region, Ikana, has its own little mini dungeon areas to go through. And it makes it kind of feel weird because of that. Like, Snowhead is arguably the shortest part of the game in that regard, now that I think about it. And I wish they did a little bit more with that in some of the other Zelda games. I guess technically looking back, you can look at maybe parts of Ocarina like that as well. Like, you need to go through the Goron Village revisit to get into the Fire Temple. You need to go through the Lost Woods proper to do the Forest Temple on top of getting the hookshot in the first place. You have to go through the actual mini-dungeon before heading into the Water Temple and all that. The well for the Shadow Temple. And Gyarados Fortress even for the Spirit Temple. So I guess now I think about it, Ocarina had that structure as well. It was really just later 3D Zelda games that didn't have that structure as directly. Because Wind Waker is pretty enclosed in what you have to do in that game to begin with. And Twilight Princess, while that game is nowhere near as enclosed, it's arguably, in terms of the more dungeon-based Zeldas, because Breath and Tears are very different in that regard, it's arguably the largest Zelda game. Because Skyward Sword is a bit smaller in some regards, even if it has maybe some more things to do on top of way more redundant text. And that there is the Seahorse's friend. Thank you, Link. This is a symbol of my deepest gratitude. They're making little hearts out of their heads. They gave us a heart piece. They're kind of making a heart. My guy, that's not a friend. That's the bestest of best friends. That's love. With that, though, our duties here in Pinnacle Rock are completely completed. So now that we have the last 3 Zora Eggs, we can head back to the Seaside Lab and see what we can get from all that. You can just go through the desert itself again, or at least attempt to get out of here. I prefer to head this way because it's ultimately a shorter trip. Because I think the borders for Pinnacle Rock technically end around the main circle of areas. So now that we're back here at the Marine Research Lab, not the Seaside Lab, I think I'm technically thinking of a different Zelda game when I say that. Let's place in the last 3 eggs. Oh, come on, this isn't over the center. Game, you are beyond picky. There is a part of me that wishes there was a way for them to say, let you place in all 3 at once. I'm not going to be too mad about it. It's like this is a game from over 2 decades ago. And not a lot of games had a lot of streamlining things like that back then. It's like comparing Trails in the Sky 1 to Trails of Cold Steel 4. I say because Reverie is not releasing until 3 days from now in the West, finally. And, say what you will about the story of some of the later games versus some of the earlier games. Crossbell Peak. They definitely streamline mechanics. Good, all the eggs have been brought together. It's going to start quickly. Come down here and look into the aquarium. Look at this! What does this mean? What in the world could this mean? Well, it looks like music notation. I've got it! Don't you understand? The way these Zora children have lined up, it means... Get out your guitar of waves. You learned the new wave bossa nova. It's the melody taught by the Zora children that invigorates singing voices.
Yes, it's that instrument. If these Zoras were born to teach this song, then hurry. You must play this song for the Zora who laid these eggs.
We're on the way. And with that, there'll be other things we can now do in Zora Hall as well. And that fish respawned. I've never noticed that. The fish respawns if you leave after doing the fish side quest, really? That's weird. So before we go talk to Lulu, there's a couple of very minor side quests we can do here in Zora Hall we're gonna focus on. To start, we actively want to head back into the drummer's room, which I think is also meant to be Mikau's room. And if you talk to him, I think as someone else, maybe Mikau or otherwise, he'll note the ladder to Mikau's part of the room is broken, but if we have the hookshot, we can come up here and find Mikau's own journal. And you need to be in Zora form to read it, so get that out. Mikau, my diary. Today, Joppas and I had a jam session. He's not good with words, but he writes great riffs. Here's what I played. Today, I had Lulu listen to my session with Joppas. She seemed to like it a lot. Lulu's a pretty great girl, after all. Today, I had another jam session with Joppas. Evan was in a bad mood because the two of us are writing songs on our own. Here's what I played. Evan called me over this morning. It was something about Lulu. He was in a real rush. I wonder what it could be. By the way, it seems my lucky color this week is green. Morbid. Now, the main reason we read that is for the notation of ocarina notes that are in that, because there is a minigame of sorts we can do if we open up our guitar in front of Joppas. So let's go and talk to him and then play those notes in sequence. As soon as you figure out where his talking hitbox is, I can never figure it out. I have the best luck on his desk. What are the other band members doing? You do know that if we don't start rehearsing, we're not going to be ready for the concert, right? Huh? You want to have a jam session? Try following this phrase I wrote in your guitar. Here we go. So if you're playing the N64 version, you're going to want to press A, C down, C right, A. If you're playing the 3DS, it's L, R, Y, L. Whoa, that's nice. Here it's C down, C right, C left, C down, or R, Y, X, R. I got it. Here we go. That's got a good feel to it, even if Evan should like this. But he's so proud he'd resent the fact that we wrote something on our own. I don't think he'd even let the others try it out. What do you think we should do? So now we want to head back to Evan's room. Because now that we have that song, we might be able to play it to him. With that said, you don't want to play it to him as the Zora, because I think that actually locks you out of the reward unless you do a reset? I'm not sure if you can just come straight to Evan's room to play the song. I think you do need to do the jam session there, but oh well. Now we saw the N64 notes that if you're playing along on 3DS and you want to know just from the top of your mind what the notes are, it's Y, Y, R, L, L, R, Y, L, X, X, Y, R, R, Y, X, R. That song. It works, it works, it works! Not bad, that's a pretty good song I just made up. You've got a good sense of melody. play my new song on our next show. Take this and thanks. And you get a piece of heart for doing that. That's a way to get sued, though. You're not thinking I'm stealing your song, do you? Yes. Yes, I do. I'm gonna call the police on you. Also, one thing I really want to point out, I love the instrument designs for all of the Indiegogo's. That's the name of the band that Mikau is in and all that. Like, Mikau's got the fish skeleton guitar, and I think Joppa's has about the same for the bass. The drums look cool, and I love the skeleton piano. Shut up, I'm busy right now. Ah, Mikau, you caught me. Yeah, Lulu's been looking kind of weird lately. I was worried. It's not like I was spying on her or anything. I'm not some kind of weirdo or some sort of slimy fish or anything. Yeah. I just remembered that I have somewhere to be. What time is it? Yeah, I have to be there, like now. See ya. Now, you can actually follow him, and if you talk to him as Hylie and Link, you can sell him pictographs of Lulu for like 20 apiece. Thanks for stopping by. I'm doing business with the folks on Zora's. That makes you a potential customer. Is this your room? I'm awfully sensitive to the sea breeze, so I'm sorry, but I'd like you to rent this room to me. But this is a messy room. Did something happen in here? Well, I can't really do anything about it. I'll sell you a green potion for 40 rupees. Do you need any? God, no. Well, that's too bad. It's time for us to pass on the land title deed. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, you're from the mountains. I'm selling green potions, but I'm focusing my marketing efforts on Zora's. Actually, I'd like to do business someplace where it's cooler and the air is clean. But to open a business in another place, you need to go through the proper channels first. Do you know what I mean? Yes, I do. We know what to do by now. Oh, that's a mountain title deed. Thank you. I'll give you this land in exchange. So, as usual, we're now going to get the ocean title deed, which we'll be able to trade to another Deku Scrub. But we can now get the piece of heart in Lulu's room here. But yeah, if you actually look around, her room is actively destroyed. Because pirates stole her eggs from here. I think you can talk to someone to get the exacts. Like, I think you can show the Zora eggs to Evan to learn that specific note. And I think they actually came in through the hole that the Deku Scrub entered and leaves from, which is kind of messed up, but oh well. In fact, now that I think about it, I have never checked what happens if you clear the dungeon of this area and then check back in after you do the final land title deed side quest. I'm not sure if there's unique dialogue for that, because I think at that point Lulu can be in her room. Although now I say that out loud, I'm not actually sure, because after you clear the dungeon, she's definitely in one specific place, so, I'll have to potentially investigate that the next time I play. But yeah, if you follow this Zora all the way up, they go into the way towards where Lulu is, but then take a right, which leads up to a balcony. You could then sell pictographs of Lulu to them for 20 apiece. And I think to mark off all the side quests as complete in Majora's Mask 3D, you need to do that at least once. With that, though, let's play this song for her. By the way, I love the new wave bossa nova. This song kicks ass. It's so pretty. I slept quite well. I just realized this is when I open my eyes. The passing of days is quite quick, isn't it, Lulu? Yes, Lulu, it's nothing to be surprised at. Although my eyes were closed in sleep, I still see everything that occurs in this ocean. Seems Lulu was confused. Regrettably, there's no time for idle conversation. Now then, proud Zora warrior. The open sea is a great bay, have need of your might. Quickly, climb onto my back. And if you do that, that leads to the dungeon, which I've always found weird that you actively can't use the hookshot as Zora, by the way, because it seems like this. But with that, that's actually going to be all the main plot progress we do this 3-day cycle, because I don't want to go into the dungeon without the upgraded sword, and when I get the final sword, there's going to be other stuff I want to do this 3-day cycle anyway, so But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 16, we're going to mess around more in Turbina Field now that we got stuff done, and see what else we can find. See you guys then.